On a grand stage, a priest announces the sacred ceremony. Every 16-year-old must undergo the divine ritual to become a knight and fight against evil. He raises his arms, shouting praises to the goddess, and the crowd follows in unison. But in the middle of this holy moment, our protagonist is asleep, standing, drooling. A girl nearby notices and is instantly irritated. Even his friends are furious, like, bro, this is the most important day of your life. Inside his dream, he's being hugged by a stunning pink haired goddess who calls him her faithful knight. She sits on his lap, asking if he likes her. Completely love struck, he confesses, face red and heart pounding. Then reality hits. He wakes up mid kiss with the priest. The crowd freezes. The priest is horrified. And then, slap! He shouts at our hero, wake up! Today is the day of divine summoning. We're told that once, this world, Jono, was a paradise, until a crimson sphere called Jiwin fell from the sky, unleashing monsters known as Anman, nearly wiping out humanity. In their darkest moment, the goddess descended, granting humans the power to fight back. Since then, becoming a knight in her name has been every youth's destiny. Back on stage, a young girl kneels for her summoning. The priest asks if she feels the goddess's response, then light condenses in her hand, shaping itself into a spear. The crowd gasps. The priest smiles almost hungrily and praises the goddess for her blessing. He calls the next candidate. One by one, the youth step forward. A quiet girl summons a sword so large it nearly drags across the floor, its edge shimmering like it's hungry for something more than battle. Another boy calls forth a sleek katana, its black steel reflecting no light at all. Then things get stranger. A trembling boy manifests a frying pan, staring at it like it's a death sentence. A small girl receives a rifle, confusion twisting her expression, like even the weapon is wondering why it exists here. Our main character watches, envy twisting in his chest. Everyone is awakening to their destiny. While he is still empty handed, he closes his fist, he must focus, but the memory of the night before drags him back. Flashback. A tavern drenched in laughter, spilled ale, and the smell of worn leather. Our protagonist sits with friends, mugs clashing together like this is a celebration instead of a trial. A woman leans toward him, asking if he's ready for tomorrow's ritual. He grins. Confident, reckless. Invincible, he says. I'll wipe out every trace of darkness. Her smile dies. Without warning, she throws her drink in his face. Her voice drops lower, sharper. Stop acting like your father, a man who only knew battle and died for nothing. Silence hangs. Someone brings out a backpack full of learning materials. They dig around and hand him a DVD. Study this, they say. It'll help. Back home, he inserts the disc. A government warning flashes. Then the title appears, The Goddess's Secret. He waits for sacred history, divine wisdom, revelation. But instead, the goddess fills the screen, barely dressed, posing like a siren sculpted of silk and temptation. She looks at him, no, into him, and asks if he's ready to enjoy the view. His heart stops. He knows this is forbidden. The priest warned them. Those who mock, doubt, or profane the goddess will never receive her blessing. His breath shakes. He should look away. But the goddess on screen whispers, voice like velvet and poison, this is only the beginning. Come. I will show you paradise. Then she calls him by name, and in that moment, he cannot tell if he is being blessed or claimed. Our protagonist's nose suddenly starts bleeding. He can't hold it back anymore. He pulls a box of tissues closer. He spent the entire night watching that video and using those tissues. Cut to the present. He's asleep again. The priest snaps, calls him useless, depraved, and literally kicks him forward to the altar. Our boy kneels before the statue and begs the goddess for a mighty sword. But when he closes his eyes, all he sees are the scenes from last night's DVD. He tries to force the vision away, but it just gets louder. He screams, writhing on the ground as the priest yells for him to focus. Then, everything stops. The statue begins to glow. Light descends. The air hums like something enormous is waking up. The priest panics. This power, this is too much for a human. He backs away, terrified. A blinding explosion of light erupts. When the dust clears, our protagonist is lying on the ground holding a woman, a very revealingly dressed woman. The crowd falls silent. Someone screams. The woman shifts, sitting right on top of him. He stares, stunned, asking who she is. She smiles. I'm your goddess. You thought about me so much, I had to come. Our boy lets out a horrified scream. The priest is outraged, accusing him of turning a sacred ritual into something vulgar. You were supposed to summon a holy weapon, not her! Everyone stares. Minds broken, reputations shattered. Our protagonist bolts, running for his life. But the goddess, Tina, grabs him by the waistband and gives him an atomic wedgie so powerful it shreds his shorts. She declares she'll stay with him forever. Now, half dressed like a caveman, he sprints home, swearing to avoid her forever. He gets inside, sighs in relief, turns around. Tina is already sitting on his bed. Outside, the townspeople are throwing eggs at his window, calling him a pervert. His social life, dead on arrival. He finally asks her, trembling, "Are you really a divine weapon or an actual goddess?" She leans in, eyes glinting. "My name is Tina. Whether I'm a goddess or not, that's a secret." And he realizes the DVD he watched was titled The Goddess's Secret. Our protagonist picks up the DVD, Tina still clinging to him, and notices something is off. The cover has changed into a picture of a pig. He freezes. Yeah, something is very wrong. He calls his friend May to explain. She answers, already drinking again. He tries to tell her everything, but she suddenly can't hear him, says the connection is bad, and hangs up. He calls again. She ignores him again. That's when it hits him. She knew. They all knew. He yells into the phone, furious. He trained for years for this ritual. He was supposed to summon a legendary sword. His entire future depended on it. Tina tilts her head and asks if he wasn't thinking about her during the summoning. She leans in close. "Aren't I cuter than a boring weapon?" Her stomach growls. So they eat instant noodles together. Tina tastes it like it's the finest meal ever cooked. Our protagonist asks where she really came from. She claims she descended because he summoned her, the one and only Tina. He's not buying it. Tina lies back, full and content, stretching in a way that is definitely not helping his situation. Then she just falls asleep. He lifts her to the bed, sighs, and decides to sleep on the floor. Tomorrow, he'll try the ritual again. In his sleep, he dreams of Tina once more. She whispers that behind every great hero is a great woman, that he needs her. He panics and wakes up. Relief, just a dream. Then he feels a hand on his face. Tina is right beside him. She curls up to him, teasing him for being better with women than he acts. He's frozen, brain empty, pride and panic fighting to the death. He assumes it's still part of the dream and decides to not fight it. And that's when Tina wakes up. She stares blankly at him. "Who are you?" Her hair shifts, turning blonde. She looks confused, then kicks him in the family jewels, followed by another kick to the head. She levitates, grabs him by the leg, and throws him across the room like laundry. He screams, asking what happened to Tina. She ignores him completely. She steps forward and slams her foot into the wall beside his face, shattering it. Stone crumbles. Dust falls. She demands to know what he meant by summoning. Her green eyes sharpen. Is this the human world? Elsewhere, officials review the footage of his summoning. They're stunned he survived that much divine power. They also note he's become a global joke and that his thoughts were impure. They decide to monitor him closely. Back at the church, the priest and elders gather, discussing what they now call the summoning failure. Back at the church, the priest tells everyone to stay calm. The situation is complicated. He contacts his superior. A deep, unseen voice responds, "The summoning was a success." The voice says the situation is unstable, but instability means opportunity. For now, watch. Do not interfere. Just observe what happens next. Meanwhile, in our hero's room, the blonde version of Tina glares at him like he's a bug that learned to speak. He trembles and tries to explain. She was Tina. He summoned her. She's his divine weapon. She looks insulted. She says that's impossible. She is not a divine weapon. He insists he tried to summon a sword. She doesn't believe a word of it. He calls her Tina again. She asks who he thinks she is. He, trying to sound confident but failing miserably, says she's a sword in human form. She stares, slowly, dangerously. He mutters that all she did so far was eat noodles, so that kind of proves it. Her eyebrow twitches. "You're pushing your luck." Then her body flares with golden light and she transforms. A massive, radiant sword fills the room. Our protagonist falls backward. He wasn't hallucinating. He actually summoned a high-class divine weapon. She transforms back, furious. "You dare compare me to a common weapon?" Our protagonist suddenly can't move. He panics until he remembers. A divine weapon can't harm its master. As if on cue, a golden mark glows on his arm. The contract. She sees it too and freezes. The mark binds her. He realizes he does have authority over her, so he nervously orders her to calm down. She screams, glowing gold, then collapses. The command worked. Outside, the priest and his assistant arrive at the house. Even the academy is involved now. The priest seems uneasy. Inside, our protagonist sighs with relief. Evil Tina is down. He notices her hair has changed again. He remembers the sword. If he can prove she's a weapon, then his ritual wasn't a failure. He leans closer. Maybe the sword is stored in her mouth. He really does not want to do this, but he opens her mouth anyway. Saliva. Just saliva. He starts poking around, and then the door slams open. The priest walks in. He sees our protagonist with his hand in Tina's mouth. Silence. The priest clears his throat and loudly announces he has good news. The Academy has decided Tina will officially be registered as his divine weapon. Our boy asks if that means he can attempt the summoning again. No. This is your weapon now, he protests. He can't use a woman as a sword. The priest, completely done with life, writes something on a slip of paper and sticks it on Tina's forehead like a store sale tag. Great Holy Sword. Message delivered. Door slammed. Our protagonist tries to call him back, shouting that this is insane. The priest yells down the street, "Not my problem. The instructor will handle it during your test." The priest leaves with a smile that feels more like a warning than a blessing. He says he expects a good performance during the test, as if the boy has already failed. Our protagonist just stands there, staring at the door like it personally betrayed him. Open quote, "How am I supposed to fight while dragging her around?" Close quote. Cut to the academy courtyard, and chaos. Students are hyping themselves up for the upcoming trials when two unfamiliar figures walk in. They don't introduce themselves, they don't explain, they just start folding everyone. One student yells that if they beat the intruders, they'll be excused from the exam, and is immediately turned into floor decoration. The man holding him by the collar introduces himself with all the warmth of a guillotine. Open quote, "Goddess Disciplinary Committee." Close quote. The name alone freezes the crowd. They are the capital's elite, not heroes, not soldiers, enforcers. Blades whirl, bodies drop. It's not even a fight, it's a reminder. Anyone who dishonors the goddess is to be corrected. And our protagonist's name is on their list. The next morning, Tina wakes up like nothing happened. She blinks, she tilts her head, she asks why her hair looks different. Our boy, who very clearly almost died last night, can only stare. She calls him delusional. Then, with the confidence of someone who has never been punched in her life, leans in and whispers, open quote, "If you wanted attention, you could have just asked." Close quote. He recoils. She calls him a pervert. Balance is restored. But the priest's words echo in his mind. He needs her in the test or he's done. So he asks if she knows how to fight. She smiles, eyes shining with that familiar divine arrogance. Open quote, "Fighting is simple." Close quote. For a moment, he remembers the golden aura, the overwhelming force, the divine presence. Then she demonstrates her technique, which is just soft baby punches. Feather taps. Love taps. Absolute disappointment. He stares at her. She stares back. Dreams die in silence. He grabs her by the wrist and drags her out before despair finishes rooting. At the equipment shop, the clerk recognizes him instantly. Open quote. "Oh, that guy, the failed summoner." Close quote. He pretends he doesn't hear it. He asks for armor. Good armor. Strong armor. Preferably armor that will prevent her from accidentally exploding again. Tina tries it on, and it fits perfectly. Then the price tag hits. 15,000. He pays. His soul leaves his body. The clerk shrugs. She's just an employee. Capitalism laughs in the background. He turns to show Tina the gear and discovers she's wandered off. He finds her in the questionable section. She holds up what she calls glasses. They are not glasses. They are lingerie designed by someone who hates subtlety. The price? 100,000. She wants it. Obviously. He calls her a greedy vampire. She smiles like she will absolutely murder him in his sleep. Nearby, two girls whisper about how gross he is. He wants to disappear. The store clerk, watching all of this, has only one thought. Open quote, "Lingerie sells better than armor anyway." Silly boy. He throws the lingerie to the ground like it personally insulted his ancestors. Open quote, "I bought you armor. Armor protects you. We are not here to cosplay." Close quote. Tina blinks, confused, still holding it like it's the holy grail of questionable taste. He shoves her into the fitting room before she can argue. The clerk watches, unimpressed with the chaos unfolding in her store. Open quote, "That item's now damaged. You'll need to pay 100,000 coins." From inside the dressing room, Tina calls his name sweetly. He already knows nothing good follows. He opens the curtain and finds her standing frozen, staring at the armor like it's an ancient puzzle box from a forgotten civilization. She looks at him with pure, weaponized innocence. Open quote, help, close quote. He sighs the sigh of a man whose life has become a series of exhausting side quests. He explains she needs to take off her skirt first. She misunderstands entirely and then starts undressing right in front of him. He moves faster than he ever has in his life. Open quote, back piece, armor first, focus, close quote. He helps her into the armor. She complains, he adjusts, she wheezes. The metal creaks. It's like trying to strap a hurricane into a tin can. The clerk outside hears thumping, gasping, rustling, panicked breathing, and decides this job is not worth emotional investment. Customers, however, are forming theories, many theories. Inside, Tina tries to bolt for freedom. He grabs her by the waist and wrestles the armor back in place. Open quote, if you don't wear this, the monsters will eat you. Let them, at least I'll die comfortable. Close quote, he threatens to cut off her food supply. She goes still, completely defeated. When they emerge, they look like survivors of a small war. The clerk pulls the curtain aside, sees the two tangled on the floor in what is technically a compromising pose, and simply says, open quote, get out, close quote. They are forcibly ejected from the premises. Outside, Tina apologizes, clinging to his sleeve. She says the armor is ugly and heavy. He says it's supposed to be because monsters bite. She brightens, patting her chest proudly. Open quote, don't worry, I will protect you. Close quote. He doesn't reply. She asks why he's quiet. He starts walking faster. Something is wrong. Someone is following them. Not subtly, not intelligently, but colligently, but constantly. Run. They run. After a while, Tina asks if they lost the stalker. A voice answers from behind. Open quote. No, stop running. Close quote. A green-haired girl steps out, flanked by a tall boy with dead eyes. Open quote. We finally found you and your summon. Close quote. Our protagonist tries to keep his voice steady. Open quote. Who are you? Close quote. The girl smiles, sharp and holy. Open quote. Goddess Disciplinary Committee. Close quote. Their job to punish blasphemy, to purge disrespect, to erase heretics. Tina squints. Open quote, so you're robbers? Close quote. The green haired girl ignores her and holds out shackles. Open quote, you are under arrest for claiming your summon is a goddess. You may surrender or surrender. Close quote. Our boy realizes there is no escape, so he does the only thing that makes sense in his panic scrambled brain. He throws the nearest object, a box, directly at them. Chaos erupts instantly. He grabs Tina and falls with her to the ground. The committee girl steps on his chest, pinning him effortlessly. Her voice is cold. Open quote, your summon will be destroyed by the tribunal. Close quote. She reaches for Tina. Tina struggles. For the first time, she looks genuinely afraid. The moment Tina is threatened, something in our protagonist changes. Not heroism, not pride, just a quiet, cold refusal. He steps forward. Open quote. If she's under my responsibility, then I won't allow anyone to harm her. That's all. Close quote. Tina tries to explain that the two newcomers are elite guardians chosen by divine authority, supposedly above normal law. He just exhales. Open quote, authority means nothing to me if it can't protect the people in front of me. Close quote. He snaps the restraints like they were made of chalk. No shouting, no posing, just intention. The disciplinary girl narrows her eyes. Open quote, resistance gains you nothing. Close quote. Her partner lifts his staff, dramatic and loud. Open quote, submit, close quote. Our protagonist doesn't submit. He kicks the staff out of his hands before the sentence finishes. The man hits the ground in a coughing heap. The girl stiffens. Open quote, he is from the capital's high division, close quote. Our protagonist picks up the broken staff and tosses it aside like trash. Open quote, I don't care where he's from. He tried to hurt someone. That's reason enough. Close quote. The girl calls for escalation. Her partner releases a divine weapon manifestation. Blue aura erupts, ground fractures, the air rings like metal, the swing comes down, impact, shockwave, stone fractures, dust clouds rise, hiding everything. Tina calls out, voice shaking. A shape emerges, bruised, breathing hard, but standing. The wielder stares. Open quote, you should not be alive. Close quote. Our protagonist wipes blood from his lip. Open quote, then you need stronger techniques. Close quote. He steps forward, but his legs tremble. The earlier impact has damaged him. His body doesn't respond. The disciplinary girl turns toward Tina. Open quote. The wielder of this spirit is unnecessary. Disengage her. Close quote. She moves to seize Tina by the wrist. And that is when it happens. Tina's expression stills, her eyes shift, a muted gold burning from deep within. She steps in front of our protagonist, no fear, no hesitation, just conviction. Open quote, no one harms him. Close quote. The ground hums, air compresses, a warmth spreads outward, ancient, distant, unmistakable. This isn't courage, this is memory. The memory of a presence older than the academy, older than the city, older than any title claiming divinity. The disciplinary girl falters. The boy with the divine weapon steps back. Even they can feel it. Something has awakened. The committee enforcer lunges, eyes burning red, ready to finish it. Tina steps forward, open quote, I promised, I will protect him, close quote. Before impact lands, a column of golden light tears open the sky. Not a beam, a descent. The entire city is washed in radiance. Streets, rooftops, every shadow swallowed by that overwhelming glow. The enforcer's strike dissolves. His divine weapon unravels like sand in a tide. He stares at his empty hand, horrified. The girl beside him recognizes it instantly. Open quote, this is divine domain suppression. The gap between their powers, it's impossible. Close quote, she grabs his shoulder. Open quote, retreat, now. Close quote. The light detonates outward, flattening stone, air, sound. When it fades, silence falls. Our protagonist is on one knee, holding Tina, unconscious, breathing softly, the light gone. Somewhere distant, a surveillance drone closes its recording. An old man watches the replay. Open quote, a humanoid summon, finally. Close quote, the bald one beside him grimaces. Open quote, that kind of being is dangerous, close quote. The old man smiles. Open quote, so is our situation. Let her exist. For now, observe. Close quote. Back at home, our protagonist is irritated. Open quote, they ripped my only good shirt, close quote. He glances at Tina, still asleep. The memory of the golden eruption lingers. She isn't supposed to be a person. Summons don't think, don't speak, don't dream. And yet, she mumbles in her sleep. Open quote, don't hurt my master, close quote. He awkwardly looks away. Open quote, I was just trying to eat dinner, close quote. When she wakes, she sits up, disoriented. He offers her food, a deluxe instant noodle cup, and her eyes instantly light up. He holds it just out of reach. Open quote, before you eat, tell me who you are. No other divine weapon behaves like you. I can't train with someone I don't understand. Close quote. Tina doesn't even attempt to lie. She just stares at the noodles like they're the only thing in the universe. He asks about the golden hair, the massive sword, the unstoppable defense. She responds by biting his arm in pure panic hunger. He sighs and finally lets her eat. She devours the entire bowl in seconds. Afterward, she quietly admits, open quote, I don't remember the fight. I fainted. I don't know anything more than you do. Close quote. He nods, exhausted, and turns to leave. Open quote. All right, get some rest. Good night. Close quote. But Tina's voice stops him. Her expression is small, uncertain. Open quote. Do you not like me because I'm not the weapon you wanted? Close quote. A warm light flickers around her, gentle, not destructive. Her form begins to glow, edges blurring. Open quote. If it would make you happy, I can become a weapon. Close quote. His eyes widen. Open quote. You can transform? Close quote. She nods. Open quote. Yes, but it feels ugly. I don't like it. Still, if it makes my master smile. Close quote. The light intensifies. Her silhouette stretches, shifts, and our protagonist can only watch as Tina begins to become something else entirely. Our hero stands ready, expecting the reveal of an incredible legendary sword. Light fades. Silence. There is no sword, just a neatly folded pile of clothes on the floor. He blinks, looks around, open quote, Tina? Sword? Anything? Close quote, nothing. Then a thought hits him. Maybe the weapon is under the clothes. With the desperation of a man clinging to hope, he starts rummaging through the pile. His expression shifts from hopeful to very confused. Open quote, did you just run away? Get back here. Close quote. Finally, he grabs something solid and pulls it out with all his might. It's a meatball skewer, with Tina's cartoonish face drawn on the first meatball. He freezes. Silence. Then, open quote, no. Absolutely not. I refuse. I don't know you. Close quote. He tosses the skewer into the trash. From the trash, the weapon whines. Open quote, at least pretend to be happy. I tried really hard. Close quote. Tina explains calmly, proudly, that divine summons can take many shapes. Open quote, even snack-shaped ones. Close quote. Our hero's soul breaks a little. But he sighs and picks her up again anyway. Time for a test swing. He strikes the wall. A tiny scratch appears. The skewer immediately starts yelling, open quote, ow, 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 I'm gonna die. Be gentle, close quote. Our hero just stares at it, open quote. This is really your battle form, close quote. The skewer trembles, open quote. Wait, I can evolve, close quote. It glows again and becomes a meat skewer with 4 meatballs instead of 1. Tina beams with pride. Open quote. Amazing, right? Close quote. Before he can respond, the weapon begins summoning random food at high velocity. Vegetables, bread, fried fish, soup, a full kitchen catastrophe. The entire house is buried under flying dinner. A whole freshly grilled fish slaps our hero across the face with a majestic pock. Open quote, stop, stop, stop. Close quote. When the chaos finally ends, Tina is back in human form, hiding under a blanket, embarrassed. Open quote, I just wanted to be useful. Close quote. He sighs, kneels down, and tells her gently, open quote, listen, your transformations are not for combat. Let's put that on pause. Just take it slow. Close quote. He tells her to get up. She stays frozen. Open quote, I can't. I don't have clothes right now. Close quote. He freezes too. Yep, her clothes are still on the floor. Cut to elsewhere. Grass rustles. 2 ladybugs are very close, enjoying life. Then squish. A large boot steps on them. A man with a dead phone tosses it aside. Open quote. How much farther? Close quote. He is carrying a pink-haired girl named May. She insists she is going to check on the protagonist personally. Open quote. If anything happens to him, I'll overturn the world. Understood? Close quote. But then the man senses something. Open quote. S rank monster. Incoming. Close quote. May summons her weapon, fire in her eyes.